This is a tutorial on adding and subtracting polynomials. If we're going to add and subtract polynomials, the first thing we have to know is how to combine and identify like terms. Let's look at our first expression here. We have 3x squared plus 9x cubed plus 2x squared plus 7x minus 6. Now like terms are just terms with the same variables, and those variables are to the same power. So our like terms in this expression would be 3x squared and 2x squared, because they both have an x squared in them. Now if I wanted to combine those, I would first write this with my like terms together. So I would have a 9x cubed plus 3x squared plus 2x squared plus 7x minus 6. Now when I combine my like terms, all you do is add the coefficients. So if I have a 3x squared and then I have 2 more x squareds, I have 5x squared. 3 plus 2 is 5. Now my other terms don't have any like terms, so they just get carried down. So my final answer will be 9x cubed plus 5x squared plus 7x minus 6. Let's try this again. Our next expression is 10a to the fourth minus 6a squared plus 13a squared minus 5a to the fourth. So my like terms here, I have two a to the fourth terms. It'd be 10a to the fourth and negative 5a to the fourth. But I also have another set of like pairs. I have a 2a squared terms. So I have a minus 6a squared and a 13a squared. Those are also like terms. So I'm going to write this expression so my like terms are placed together. So we'll have 10a to the fourth minus 5a to the fourth minus 6a squared plus 13a squared. Now to combine my like terms, you just add their coefficients. If I have 10a to the fourths and I subtract 5a to the fourths from that, I end up with 5a to the fourth. And then if I have a negative 6a squared and a 13a squared, well, 13 plus negative 6 is just a 7a squared. So our simplified expression then would be 5a to the fourth plus 7a squared. Let's try this last example. We have 2xy squared plus xy minus 4x plus 3xy squared. My like terms here are the 2xy squared and the 3xy squared. This xy term here is not a like term because the y is not squared. So that's a different term than the 2xy squared and the 3xy squared. So to combine these, I write my like terms together. So I have a 2xy squared plus 3xy squared plus xy minus 4x. Next, you just add the coefficients of your like terms. So if I have 2xy squares and I add 3xy squares to that, I'll end up with 5xy squared. And then the other terms just carry along. So we'll have plus xy minus 4x. And this would be our simplified expression. So now that we know how to combine like terms, let's talk about adding polynomials. Here we have two polynomials. The first one, 4x to the fifth minus 12x cubed plus 4x squared. And we're adding 10x to the fifth minus 10x squared. Now because these are added together, we don't need the parentheses. So we could write this as 4x to the fifth minus 12x cubed plus 4x squared plus 10x to the fifth minus 10x squared. Now just like before, we need to identify our like terms. I have a 4x to the fifth and a 10x to the fifth. I also have a 4x squared and a negative 10x squared. But I don't have any like terms to go with my x cubed term, so I'm going to leave that one alone. And I'm going to rewrite this with my like terms put together. So this will be a 4x to the fifth plus 10x to the fifth minus 12x cubed plus 4x squared minus 10x squared. Now you just add your like terms together. So I have a 4x to the fifth and a 10x to the fifth. 4 plus 10 would be 14x to the fifth. My 12x to the cube doesn't have any other like terms, so it just comes along. And then I have a 4x squared minus 10x squared. So I just add my coefficients. I have a negative 10 and a 4, so this will be a minus 6x squared. So when we add these two polynomials together, we end up with 14x to the fifth minus 12x cubed minus 6x squared. So let's try our next problem. Here we have 2xy minus 5x squared y squared plus 4, and then we're going to add 5x plus 7x squared y squared. Well, again, because these are multiplied, we don't need the parentheses. This just becomes 2xy minus 5x squared y squared plus 4 plus 5x plus 7x squared y squared. Now we need to identify our like terms. We have a negative 5x squared y squared and a 7x squared y squared, but those are our only like terms. So now I'm going to write this so my like terms are together. I'll have a negative 5x squared y squared plus 7x squared y squared plus 2xy plus 5x plus 4. Now to combine my like terms, I just add their coefficients. So I have a negative 5x squared y squared and a 7x squared y squared. Positive 7 plus a negative 5 would be 2x squared y squared. And the rest of my terms don't have any like terms, so we just rewrite them. So we have a 2xy plus 5x plus 4. So when we add these polynomials, we end up with 2x squared y squared plus 2xy plus 5x plus 4. Now lastly, we have to talk about subtracting polynomials. Subtracting polynomials are just like adding polynomials except for one extra step. Here we have 4x squared plus 13x minus 8. And we're going to subtract 2x squared plus 3x to the fourth minus 13x minus 5. Well, imagine this is 4x squared plus 13x minus 8 plus negative 1 times 2x squared plus 3x to the fourth minus 13x minus 5. All I've done is switch this subtraction into an addition. Now because we have this negative 1 out front of the parentheses, we need to distribute it through multiplication to every term on the inside of this parentheses. So this will become a 4x squared plus 13x minus 8 plus, now negative 1 times 2x squared will be a negative 2x squared. Negative 1 times 3x to the fourth will be a negative 3x to the fourth. Negative 1 times negative 13x will be a positive 13x. And negative 1 times a negative 5 is just a positive 5. So now that I've converted this into an addition, we don't need the parentheses anymore. So this just becomes 4x squared plus 13x minus 8 minus 2x squared minus 3x to the fourth plus 13x plus 5. Now we need to identify and combine our like terms. I have a 4x squared and a negative 2x squared. I also have a 13x and a 13x. And then lastly, I have two constant terms. I have a minus 8 and a positive 5. So now that I've identified all these terms, I'm going to write them so they're put together. So I'll have a negative 3x to the fourth plus 4x squared minus 2x squared plus 13x plus 13x again minus 8 and plus 5. Now you just add the coefficients of your like terms. Here I have a 4x squared and a minus 2x squared. Well, 4x squares and minus 2x squares would be just 2x squared. 13x plus 13 more x's will be 26x. And minus 8 plus 5 is a minus 3. And don't forget about your negative 3x to the fourth. So when we subtract these two polynomials, we just end up with 3x to the fourth plus 2x squared plus 26x minus 3. Let's try our last example here. We have 9x squared y plus 24x, and we're going to subtract x squared y minus y plus 12. Now again, think of this as adding -1 times this set of parentheses. And if we do that, we have to distribute this -1 through multiplication to all these terms. So if we do that, we end up with 9x squared y plus 24x plus -1 times x squared y would be -x squared y. -1 times a negative y would be a positive y. And -1 times 12 would be a -12. So now this is an addition. We can drop our parentheses. We have 9x squared y plus 24x minus x squared y plus y minus 12. Now we have to combine our like terms, or at least identify them. I have a 9x squared y and a -x squared y, but those are my only like terms. So if I write them together, I'll have 9x squared y minus x squared y plus 24x plus y minus 12. Now I add the coefficients of my like terms. I have a 9 and a -1. 9 minus 1 would be an 8x squared y, and then plus 24x plus y minus 12. And that completes the tutorial on adding and subtracting polynomials.